G'day guys, welcome back. You know where we are, you know what we're doing. Sopwith Camel. It's where are we up to? It's about middle of May 2025 in the hangar building a beautiful Sopwith Camel. Watch along, we'll see what we get up to. Thanks for watching. Okay, it's one big treasure hunt really, building an aeroplane. Had a delivery from Amazon. I got some brakes, I'll get to those. Went down to Bunnings, picked up my, I reckon these are great, $3.50 for 2 brushes. They're really nice. They're little sample pot brushes. I use them once, throw them out, because I'm lazy, don't want to clean up. And speaking of lazy, I got the etch primer for the wheels. Never underestimate, this stuff doesn't go too far, so a can for each side if I need that, maybe not. I call it the duck shooter paint. This is from Crowe's in town here, the paint shop. They use it for crossbows and duck punts, so you get black, light green and this dark green, so I use the dark green which matches my olive drab, and that's what's on the struts, the wheel struts at the moment, or the undercarriage. But it's not, it says it's a Rust-Oleum product, but it's not fuel and oil proof. But then I hit it with the clear coat in satin, and it seems to make it fuel proof. Time will tell. I don't mind if I get a few chips and, a bit of, what do you call it, patina. Also remember last week we were talking about the Handhold. Now I'm very reluctant to drill a big hole in my aeroplane, but I think I'm going to have to. Not sure if I just go with plastic. This is flat, which is telling me straight away I guess I could hit it with the heat gun to get it to the flange to sit down flat, paint that up. I've got a metal one which could do, I could potentially tin tap that. Depends on, that's probably 3-inch, I think. I got a 40mm and I got a 50mm. Screaming test piece, isn't it, guys? As I covered off before, you don't want to go boring through the longeron. Or stringers. I know someone corrected me on that, but these guys here, they are longerons. So, yeah, do I want to drill a hole in this? I think I'm going to have to, so I can get in and out. I'll practice getting in and out. Today, I'm going to reinforce the inside edge, and that'll probably be it for the day. First of all, I'll take out the bracket and fit the anchor nuts, get the bolts in. Then it's hopefully take it off once, stain it, or sand it, stain it, a couple of coats of clear, and put it back on permanently. That is the plan. When I say permanently, this one, it'll stay in here. These will come out. I should be able to slide this panel out. I have to be careful on the other side because I've got the foot peg there, which means the panel won't slide down. Yeah. And brakes. So my paint can go away for now till the wheels come off again to do the brakes. So I got these off Amazon, believe it or not. I know that sounds cheap and nasty, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Keep it simple, silly. So something like this, I can imagine, I don't need a lathe to do a, obviously on the inside guys, but for the sake of the video, to do a disc, you got to space it out. It's got to run pretty much spot on, like true. This old guy, haven't offered this up yet, but yeah, I'm hoping. See, I can do plywood disc or something to help me centre that on there, and it'll pick up similar bolts to this on the inside. Now, a few people have asked about the wheel covers on the inside. So as you can imagine, this will go in there. I need to get into the back to do nuts and bolts up. So it's just easier at this stage. Maybe in the future that can be a retrofit, cover those up. But for now, yeah, who knows the longevity of this aeroplane, so I'll leave the inside ones off. We'll get the brakes on, so that'll fit, that'll sit on there. And then I need somehow to hold the band on. So the band, these are go-kart brakes. They're good enough for a go-kart. However, go-karts don't have 21-inch wheels and all that leverage. And then the band simply goes around the brake, and it squeezes on. Are they going to be effective? Time will tell. I don't know. It's basically just to pull me up at the fuel bowser and things like that. And then I ordered this is an excavator throttle, I think it is, a throttle cable. What I did find, actually, they got some great marine cables, like the Bowden cables, which is what I should have done for the throttle cable. Anyway, hindsight. Now, this is only a cheapie off eBay or Amazon, one of those. Starting to think few too many moving parts. The little ratchet thing there, you know, it's working for now. That just works like that and then locks in with a pin. You'd have to stop that pin. Just a simple bit of tape, I guess, would stop that pin coming out. There may be a few too many working parts. I want these to fail off. I don't want them to fail on. And I think for that reason, I think I'll go with just two brake, like dual brakes, no independent braking. Keep it simple. So brakes are either on or off. Well, obviously I can pull the handle. So I may even take the locking mechanism out. So the brakes are always off, apart from when I pull the handle. And if the handle breaks, they fail off. Just what I'm thinking on that. Put the anchor nuts in. Needs a final trim. Both sides. All nicely done. Putting a nice little office in there. Beautiful. So I'm just having a play to make my own flange. These are like $2 each. But we'll try and make one ourselves, just out of a bit of scrap. So I'm just sneaking up on this. I need to make a hole under here to tap down into. But while I've got centre, I'm now going to draw the outer, because then I'm going to lose centre. I think I'll drill through with the small size, and then pull the aluminium off, or just drill through the metal, which will leave a centre hole. Find centre again with the big one, drill out the plywood, and then I should be able to tap the aluminium down into what's left. Yeah, a lot of thinking going on just for a little job, but we'll see what happens. Probably should have traced the outside hole too. So I just knocked it around. A bit rough and ready, but that's not too bad. I should have, well, I had that 16th centre, I should have drawn a circle to trim it down to. Okay, time to bite the bullet and drill a 2-inch hole in my perfectly good aeroplane. Just thinking, am I going to lose strength? Started with a 16th size hole. Now I should be able to reach up under here. Feel that. Okay, I'm happy we're going to miss the longerons. Now we'll drill a big hole in my plane. Hey, caramba. Okay, beautiful, nice hole. Yeah, I might vacuum that so I don't all go inside. Now I definitely need to make a ring, don't I? Okay. Probably the most nerve-wracking thing I've done, I think. Just working that flange around. Bit of time, bit of love. This is my second go. Beautiful. All right, knocked a bit of sense into that. I think what I'll do now is pull out the clecos, mark it. I'll leave it fat. What I mean by fat, you can see it's not tucked in. And then when the time comes, which is not now, final fit, once it's stained. Come on, baby, you have to go in there because you're the same size drill. Once I get that feathered edge off, that'll go on there nicely. Beautiful. And then I can finish, I can sort of tap it around both surfaces if I so desire, rather than have to try and open it up a bit wider now. So that'll be something like that. And then when I hop in the aircraft, fingers go in, foot in the camel toe, and then up we go. Have to, probably try not to lift the skin up too much. Anyway, one very time-consuming hand hold, I guess. It's also going to add to the aesthetics, one would imagine. Polish it up, look nice. I won't, well, should I drill it? I don't think I will. I'll wait till final fit. Drill it. What do I do? Countersink? Could try that now on a scrap piece with these same screws. But don't drill it yet because you've got a lot of orientation going on there. Okay. It's that time of year again. I've walked in, started breathing, put the kettle on, and I'm making rain. All the water on the floor dripping on my aeroplane. I seem to remember this happening when I was painting last year. How time flies. So I've got a bit of water dripping on my bare wood. Yeah, that's all right. Someone said to me once, wood's meant to be wet, it grew up in the forest. So don't worry about a bit of water on some wood. Freezing cold. It's actually that cold. This is my water for when I grind on sand stuff, my cooling thing. It's got ice in it. Whew. So, I've had a few days off, went fishing, sailing down the mighty Murray River. Not sailing, in my tinny. Had a great time. Caught absolutely nothing. But anyway, so I am going to now pull this off, trim it all up, sand the edges, fill the holes, and we'll get a coat of stain hopefully on that today. Get all the tape off. Just doing these jobs, make it look pretty. Then I'll go back, run into that situation again when it's going to be too cold to paint. These things will be freezing at the moment. but the sun's going to come out. It'll be about 15 degrees later. I'll get them ready. How am I going to do that? I need to, just thinking out loud, I need a jacket to take the wheel off, get the hubcap just off there. I don't want to pull the bolt out. Maybe I could. No, it's not worth the trouble, because if the collar comes off and the wheel slips, the aeroplane's going to drop. So I'll do it properly. Get the hubcaps, I'll get the spun aluminium wheel covers maybe primed. Okay, I got the turtle deck off. This thing is super fragile at the moment. I could put another stiffener, but I don't want to change the shape. I will put another stiffener when it's fitted again. So this edge is it's rough cut, and I've just sanded it because it's too flimsy to try and do now and risk cracking this. So I've just trimmed the edges, or both edges. Got to just round the edge nicely, and then put it back in the panel stand for, I'll give it a stain. Then a couple of clear coats. Just can't wait to get it back on, actually, then it can't break. It's strong when it's on, when it's off it's like an eggshell. And you have to be very careful. I've caught a couple of dags already, and you can rip a bit of timber out. The weak spots are where these joins are, because I got a bit lazy trying to do that in situ. But what I'll do is a nice piece, I guess, all the way around once it's fitted. Got the Cedar stain on. As I said before, very fragile, this piece at the moment. Yeah, I could fiberglass the inside or something, but it's not meant to be handled, I guess, once it's on. I'll let that dry for an hour or so, and we'll get a clear coat on before I go home. Looking good. You can see now how that piece will look fantastic. Very nice. Once I polish this up a bit. So that's done. A bit lethargic in this cold weather. I could hook in and get the wheels prepped. I might have to look at that next. So wheel off. I just painted my wheel retainer. That can stay there. The good thing with rattle cans, I'm just going to do one wheel at a time so that I can share the jack, if you know what I mean. I don't want to take both wheels off for obvious reasons. And the cleaning process begins. Scotch-Brite, give it a good scuff. Now I'm just going through with my the good old wax and grease remover, and I clean it until no grey comes onto the towel. That's what I found best. Then we'll hit it with an etch primer. So I've got my etch primer and my paint in some boiling water, well, half and half, so warm water, just to get it happening. And we'll get one wheel, probably just primed today. A couple of coats of primer, see how it turns out. Probably like to give it a 400 in between, and we'll get this painted. While I'm painting that, I'm going to work on the brakes on this, just on this side. We got some primer on the spun aluminium wheel cover, that's outside. Put a coat of the good old Cabot's, what do we call it, polyurethane, or Cabot's exterior clear, yeah, polyurethane. That was called cabothane. Now I just make sure I haven't got any goobers running out the holes. I've got some fur on there, I'm not worried. Once this sets up, it's a lot easier to sand. So any goobers and things off the rag will dry hard, and then I'll get them off later. But this is it's like painting a newspaper, to be honest. Probably just one coat on that. As you know, it sits up on there, so that'll be fine. Flip it over. It may go off today. I've got about an hour left. and get one coat on the top side. I like to keep the form, if you like, the rough form. So just pull this back a bit, just in case it does fall overnight, it'll hit the chain. Just so it sort of dries and gives me a bit of a head start. One weak spot, as I pointed out before, is where those joins are. I just got lazy and just got too hard trying to do that up on the wing. Right. Let's paint a wheel cover. So in between jobs, I've just marked the holes, the pre-existing ones on the hub. Now, I haven't got a lathe, but I've got tape. So wrap that in tape, had a bit of wing spar. So that is centered, if you like. Now what I'm going to do is wrap the outside of this piece in probably electrical tape, and that'll center my drum on the disc, on the hub, or the wheel. And this has got holes in it, so I either use the holes or try and completely miss. And that's what I'm working on at the moment. Okay, a bit of annoying. The holes don't line up, which is fine, but they're too close for comfort. So we'll go with a 3-bolt pattern. So I've made sure I can get the nuts on in the locations I've decided to use. I'll drill 2 more holes, square this up, bolt it on. Okay, kicking goals. In my very basic hand tool workshop I've got here, I've managed to get that brake drum on there, and for me, yeah, it's got a, you know, if we're talking in millimetres and not thou, we're pretty good there. It's got a little bit of rise and fall. I could undo the bolts and muck around and tap it around, but for the type of brake that it is, I reckon that is fantastic. Right, good job. So, while I'm waiting for the weather to warm up, I'll place these under my very expensive roof here. First wheel cover. It looks a bit dull, but it's going to get a satin gloss, 3 coats of satin gloss, because that's not fuel proof at the moment. The inside cabothane clear has dried. We'll flip that over. Probably maybe 1 coat today because of the weather. Be great to get that sanded. I might even paint that now. Got to be careful, you don't want it to blush or whatever in this cold weather. I'll prep the other wheel cover. Get that painted up. Make sure I label left and rights. What else? Spray the little collar black, and then I might work on the crosshairs at the top. Okay, well, I've got my painting going on outside. I'll warm the paint up. Just put the rattle cans in warm water. I've had a quick scribble with some brakes. This will mean nothing to you. As we're trying to work out, you know, bell cranks and whatever on the bottom, 1 lever, and then I sort of thought, let's keep it simple, stupid. We'll do a lever on each side of the seat. So then I've got independent braking. I can pull on both if I need to. Yeah, it'll take 2 hands. And we'll go with that. So I rummaged through the scrap box. I found these tubes. It was 22 inches. I cut it in half, 11 inches, which is also the gape or the bite on my bandsaw. And what I'm going to do is just make some brackets each side with a bolt. And for now, that'll just be a handle. Then I thought, oh, a bit of fun. This will get wrapped in the wood wrap. And I'll put like black rubber for a little handle. I won't know that until I work out how much leverage I actually need. So because I need a pull, this will be fastened at the back, like what I've sort of come up with here. Fastened at the back. I'll put an Adele clamp on here to grab the cable somehow. That way I can just slide the Adele clamp along to give me more or less leverage. So we'll knock these up, get the handles made, just a little fun job, and then we'll worry about connecting them later. I'm going to have to run, the cable up through the leg there somehow. I'm sort of nervous about drilling holes in the undercarriage leg, but I've got 5 holes down there, like here, with the rivets. But also the cable needs to go up and down. I could do some, what are these, 1/8 cables with these sort of fittings. But if it hasn't got a housing and the suspension was to go up, then the brakes would come off, wouldn't they? I think they would. Or the bungee. If the bungee was to break, then I'd have no brakes. Well, I'd have brakes on one side, I guess. I have to think about that, because this looks fairly substantial. These cables, run these cables up, as opposed to the, the cheap little bicycle cable, these guys. If I ran, so here's the brake the pad, if you like, which will go around there. I've had a decent cable on it. Work on that. So I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I've just made up a, I drilled through my finger. I just made up a handle. I know it could be castellated nuts, but for now it's just that. Put some Teflon washers in there, so that will be a brake handle. Brakes on, brakes off. One each side, and we'll run the cables down. Probably have to take the side panels back off again. That's how we roll. Alright guys, so a quick wrap up. We've got a coat of clear coat on the turtle deck. It's still got a sheen to it. I just touched it. It's like toffee sticky, so second coat tomorrow, because I want to give that a nice, I'll give it a nice sand with 400. It goes a bit foggy, and then the clear coat brings it up like the leather almost. Looks like leather. My 2 spun aluminium wheel covers. Got the paint on nicely. That'll do for a rattle can job. 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of colour, 3 coats of clear coat. Let that dry thoroughly, then they can go back on. To get them on, I need to take the wheels off. Brakes are looking good. All the blue tape, guys, just reminds me that things are undone or need to be done, like up here. Now I've just been working on, I've fitted a turnbuckle here. About to do the other side. Sort of did it in situ, if you like, because I wanted to keep it relatively in rig, but I've got an open fuel tank, so I don't want to use the grinder. So I've just done my knuckles, to be honest, trying to cut the wire by hand. I undid one side and dropped it down to do the crimps, put it back up. I'll do the same on this side, and we'll be pretty close to done on this. That'll allow me just to take the slack out of these ones. Hopefully that works well. What I did there, I've got what I call a bullet, but for YouTube it's only a bolt. And when I knock a bolt out, I knock this in to retain the hole, and then knock it out when I put the bolt back in. Makes it nice and simple. I'll probably make up a few of these, not with bolts, but just out of wire or something. When I put the wings on, just slide all these in, put them in the wrong way, and then, once all my helpers go, I'll tighten them up, put everything in safety. I was hoping, I cut the wire, and you'd think with a sort of 4 or 5 inch turnbuckle, you'd have enough left just to loop it around and do this end, but you just need a good tail to be able to pull it through. So whole new piece of wire. Nothing's in rig yet, but we'll get this side done now. Okay, I've been wanting to do this for a while. That can come off. I've got my 2 turnbuckles in. Now these wires, obviously it's not in rig yet, but I can tension that to the cow comes home to make it nice. They're a lot better. If you remember before, if you remember back, I'd pull this one and that one could go slack and vice versa. Now, it's all nice and everything's nice and centered. So that was worth the effort. Yeah, so I replaced both these lower cables, added the turnbuckles, obviously all the rigging, because what I'll do is I'll probably back all these off 2 turns, allow myself some wiggle room, and then we'll plumb bob the aircraft and use the incidence meter that no one seems to use, and get it all in rig. Okay, a bit of R&D going on with a cup of coffee before knockoff. I'm just going to make a little torpedo piece to go on my bracing wires. I've just drawn it up. I'm going to hit up the men's shed. I've got a friend from the men's shed who's got a lathe. This will be a lathe job. It could even be out of balsa wood, to be honest, but yeah, just a little torpedo shape, cut in half, 3mm hole up the middle so I can screw it together. I'll stain it up, probably a silver nose. So we know we're getting serious when we're into pieces like this. My next little thing I'm going to design, I need a band to go around the axle with like an arm off it to collect the brake. And then I can, yeah, I'm going to put a bolt straight through, probably on the inside there, and yeah, we'll work that out, how we're going to mount the brakes. I'm really happy with the drums so far. Now I just need to get them working. Did I show you the handles? I made the handles up. I'm just going to have one on each side. So independent braking is hands off and grab both handles and go for it. Alright guys, from the R&D factory here at Latrobe Valley in Australia, it's starting to look good. Doing some pretty jobs now. Temperature's starting to play a part, so I can't get a lot of painting and that done, but that's alright, I'm not in a rush. Tomorrow the spun aluminium wheel covers can probably go on. I'll get a second coat, I'm looking over there because that's where they are. Second coat on the turtle deck after a nice sand, it'll come up really nice. The best spot for that turtle deck is back on the aircraft so it doesn't break. We may look at some brakes. It's a bit counterintuitive there to put the turtle deck on and then I'll probably have to pull these panels off to get some brakes mounted. I need to get a little bracket made for the brakes before I can actually go full bore with that. I think I'm going to get to a point where I need the big expensive part at the front. Just like to thank everyone for watching. Hope you enjoy the movies. I enjoy making them. It's a bit of fun. It's also my build log if you didn't know, you weren't aware. I've seen a couple of Sopwith Camels around the world fly. They've got ready to fly or they have just flown, which is fantastic to see. Hopefully this one does soon too. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.